Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be making an easy recipe for beef tamales. Now, the amount that I'm making today is definitely a smaller amount than what I would make for the holidays, so feel free to double or triple this recipe. But these beef tamales are so tender, moist, and delicious. Here's how I do it. To start, I'm going to soak around 40 to 45 corn husks. These are fairly pliable, but sometimes I get them and they are really dry. So you may want to soak these in hot water overnight, but here I'm rinsing them for any debris, and now I'm going to soak them for about 2 hours or until they are pliable. Okay, so next I'm going to work on my meat. I am going to be using around a 4-pound chuck roast. This is a boneless chuck roast. You could use the cut of beef of your choice. I'm actually going to cut this into chunks, and basically for this recipe you'll need at least 2 pounds of cooked beef. So this chuck roast was a little over 4 pounds, so I'm sure I'm going to have leftover meat, but that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. So I'm going to add all of my chunks of this boneless chuck roast right into a crock pot. You could use the cooking method of your choice. You could cook your beef on the stovetop and braise it, or roast it in the oven. Ultimately, you'll want to end up with tender beef. I'm going to add 1 beef bouillon cube to this. You could add 2 teaspoons of salt if you want to skip the bouillon. I'm also going to be adding 2 cups of water. I just want to see if I can yield some extra broth that I'll be using in the puree and the masa. Now I'm going to add 1 small onion that I've halved, 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and I'm also going to be adding 1 dried bay leaf in here. I'm going to cover it and let this cook on high for about 6 to 7 hours. Like I said earlier, if you do not have the time to slow cook, you can definitely braise this on the stovetop for about 3 hours until everything is tender. Now I'm going to work on my chili puree. Here I have 2 Pasilla Chiles, 2 Ancho Chiles, and I'm also going to add 8 Guajillo Chiles. I'm going to remove the stems, and I'm also going to remove the seeds from this. Once I've removed all the stems and seeds from the dried chili pods, I'm going to give them a really good rinse. Then I'm going to leave them in the pot and fill the pot to submerge the chilies. And I'm going to take that right over to the stove, and I'm going to bring my pot of chilies up to a boil. Once my pot of water with chilies starts to simmer and boil, I'm going to turn off the heat and allow them to steep until pliable. I think 30 minutes at least should do the trick, but longer is better. So it's been about 6 hours here that my beef has been cooking in this crock pot. So as you can see, there's a lot of rendered broth here in this crock pot, and the meat is tender. So I'm going to remove the onion that I placed in here, and I'm actually going to set that aside because I will be adding this to my chili puree when it's time to blend them. And then once I remove the onion, I'm also going to remove all of the beef. Now, any broth left in the crock pot, I'm just going to pass it through a cloth over a strainer just to remove any bits that I don't want into my broth. And whatever broth is left, that's what I'll be using in the puree and the masa. And this entire recipe, you'll want to use around 4 to 5 cups of liquid in this recipe. That is including whatever you use in the puree and in the masa. Here I have 3 2/3 cup of beef broth, so I will definitely be dividing that. Okay, so my chilies are nice and pliable. I'm going to add them right into the blender. Now I'm going to add 1 2/3 cup of that beef broth, and the rest of the beef broth I'm going to add to the masa. So this should be enough to get things moving here in the blender. I'm also going to add that onion that I reserved from the crock pot, and I'm going to be adding 2 fresh cloves of garlic. And now I'm just going to cover this with a lid, and I'm going to puree it. After pureeing everything, I'm going to pass it through a fine mesh strainer just to remove any bits that did not puree well. Now, if you have a high-powered blender, you might not have to do this. I'm going to reserve a 1/3 cup of this puree to add to the masa. That is actually optional, but I like it. Now I'm going to chop all of my tender beef, and I'm just going to chop it as best as I can. You could also shred it with your hands if that's the texture you want to the beef. Now in a pan, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm going to preheat it and add my puree. I'm using something like a medium heat, nothing too high. And I'm going to add the puree to the pan and bring it to a simmer. I'm also going to add around 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I do want to mention, you want to add the salt to your taste. You might find 1.5 teaspoons to this is too salty, so maybe use a teaspoon. It is definitely up to you. So I'm going to give this a mix and bring it up to a simmer for about a minute or so. And once my puree has cooked and simmered, I'm going to add all of my chopped beef. I'm going to add it here and give it a good mix, and I'm just going to let it simmer for a couple of minutes, and the beef filling is done. For this recipe, you'll at least want 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of cooked chopped beef. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the masa. Here I have 4 cups of instant corn flour. I'm going to use a gloved hand to mix this. I'm also going to add 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Now, growing up, I don't remember my grandmother actually using baking powder in the masa, but you guys have mentioned it in the past on my other tamales videos. So I started using it and I like it. It does give it a nice, light, softer texture to the masa. Okay, so now I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Things like salt and seasoning are up to you, so if you want more salt, you can add it. I'm going to go ahead and combine that. Next, I'm going to be adding beef tallow. You do not have to use beef tallow, but for those of you curious of what I'm using, this is what I'm using. And I'm using around 1 cup of this, 1.25 cups more like. I will put the weighted measurements in the description below. So now I'm just going to mix this until it's combined well. You can definitely use lard or shortening in this. If you want to use oil, I don't have a lot of experience using oil in masa, so maybe start with 3/4 cup. So now I'm going to add that reserved cup of chili puree to this. This was 1/3 cup of chili puree. That is optional, but I like chili puree in my masa. Now I'm starting with 2 cups of that reserved beef broth, and I'm just going to combine this well. I can already tell that it's going to need more liquid, so I'm going to go ahead and get around 1 cup of warm water that I added to that chili puree cup. That's why it's that color. And I'm just going to work my masa, mix it vigorously until it is the texture of Play-Doh, a loose Play-Doh. You want it to be able to squeeze easily through your fingertips. So be sure to have more water on the side as you put together your tamales, because it does dry out. You know, once the water soaks into the instant corn flour, it could easily dry out. So my masa is ready, my beef filling, and here are my pliable corn husks. Now I'm ready to assemble these tamales. There is a rough side and a smooth side to the corn husk. You'll want to add the masa to the smooth side and just spread it all over the midsection to the top of the corn husk. And now I'm going to add my beef filling. The ratio of these ingredients, masa to meat filling, is definitely up to you. And I'm just going to continue making my tamales until they are done. And this recipe easily can make around 30 to 35 tamales. While I continue to assemble these tamales, I'd just like to share a story. Anytime I make tamales, whether they're sweet or savory, it always reminds me of my paternal grandmother. I lost her when I was 9, so I always look back and only wish I had more time with her, because I know she had so many wonderful recipes that she would have loved to pass on, but I always have the memory of her delicious cooking. So all of my tamales are done. So here I have a 16-quart pot with around 2.5 liters of water at the bottom. I'm going to add the little steamer plate at the bottom and a little bowl right in the center, and I'm going to start stacking the tamales upright around the bowl. Now I'm working with a 16-quart pot. You probably could get away by using maybe a 12-quart pot with this amount of tamales to cook, but I will mention the tighter you pack the pot, the longer it takes to cook, so the cook time will vary. Now I'm going to add leftover corn husks to the top of the tamales to cover them. I'm going to place a damp cloth on top. Then I'm going to cover it with a lid. Another trick or tip that you can use to ensure that your water is boiling and to make sure that there's still water to boil at the bottom of the pot is to add marbles or coins. I can hear when the water's boiling, but if you use the coins, once they stop stirring and making noise, that's when you know you need to add more water. I'm going to turn the heat on high, bring the water to a boil, then start the cook time. It'll take about an hour to an hour and a half, and I'm excited. It has been 1 hour and 15 minutes, so I'm just going to remove one tamal and I'm going to see if I can get it to come out clean from the husk. That is the indication you are looking for to see if your tamales are done. And I have success. So I'm going to remove all of the tamales from the pot and set them aside. You want to let them set for about 20 to 30 minutes and then serve. They should come out easily from the husk. And I want to show you. This is still warm, it's mildly hot, and it comes out so easily from the husk, and I'm going to cut right into it to show you how tender, soft, and moist these come out. Just like that, you have delicious beef tamales. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.